their pick. So you don't have to coddle your kids or coddle a quarterback, but you can set them up for success. They went out, upgraded their O-line, if you're paying attention in Chicago. Dahlman, the center from Atlanta, top 8 center. Joe Tooney, top 2 or 3 interior linemen. Jonah Jackson, starter. So they've upgraded their offensive line. They like their right tackle. And now they hire an offensive coach, and they go get Colston Loveland from Michigan, who the Rams liked, the Chargers liked, Denver liked. Like, the smart offensive guys in this league all sniffed at moving up to get this guy. But the price was too steep. All the people I trust, the offensive, they all love this Michigan kid. And so now Caleb Williams has DJ Moore, Roma Dunze, Cole Kmet, Colston Loveland, Swift the running back. Massive upgrades interior O-line. And today they have picks number 7 and number 9. So you're going to get 2 more potential guys who can start. So this is called putting a quarterback in a position to succeed. That's what this is called. Head coach, O-line, weapons, upgrade. Caleb Williams already got a hold of Colston Loveland, and they're already communicating. And in my lifetime, I've said before, they've always been a little bit like the Steelers. They lean defense, they smell defense, they feel defense. Chicago has as good a young group of offensive players, top to bottom, as you're going to find in this league, with very few exceptions. Maybe Philly's better. You know, there's some really good rosters in this league. But again, and we need Caleb Williams here. We need Caleb to be good in September. Because if you're a franchise quarterback in the NFC, you're going to have to go through Jaden Daniels in Washington. And Jaden Daniels last year with a shaky O-line and one weapon had a 107 passer rating in September. So I have said this multiple times. With Ben Johnson, Cole Kmet, now Loveland, DJ Moore, capable running backs, they'll add another in this draft. He needs to be good in September because that's when the good weather is. That's when you can throw the ball down the field. So Caleb's got to have a good camp. Caleb's got to have a good preseason. It is fair to say, Caleb, you got to be good in September. I'm not waiting until Thanksgiving.
Okay. First off, you can wait until Thanksgiving. Let's be easy on that one. I could not be any more bullish on the Chicago Bears. And you guys know, or you at least will know, I'm always super high on tight ends. Tight ends are, you know, one of my favorite guys to get to make sure that you have that position solidify. I talked about that in lots of videos, but then also just even yesterday during the live draft. So I think as long as Caleb Williams isn't a true bust, okay, right? Like it was just really like, man, he really is just not that good of a quarterback, or he's just too overwhelmed. And as long as Ben Johnson isn't overwhelmed by the extra things that he has to do now as a head coach, right? The Chicago Bears will win the division. To me, the biggest question mark outside of those 2 other question marks, which I'm like, I don't believe they are, but I think it's still fair to have them as question marks because you don't know. To me, the biggest question mark, the true question mark is, can they get their defense back on track? And I actually made this comment after Thanksgiving when they lost with Eberflus, and I was like, it's actually kind of a shame that football is not run this way, because it should be, because this is how other businesses and other companies are run, where you're like, you know what, Eberflus, you're a great defensive mind, you're a great defensive coordinator, you're not set to be a good head coach, at least right now. We're going to demote you, we're going to put you as defensive coordinator, we're going to bring in Jerry, he's going to be the head coach now, and then, you know, Ben Johnson, whatever. And like, that's actually like how a successful company works. Because you're like, hey, you're great at defense, like, look what you did to this defense. You're not good at some of this other stuff, or it just doesn't suit you right now. You know, you still have a little bit more. And like, that's what you would do. So many companies promote someone and they realize, you know what, you're not ready to be the program manager just yet. We're gonna pull you back. We're gonna let Joe be the program manager for now. You're gonna learn a little bit more from Joe, and then maybe in the future we can kind of see. But obviously that's why not how football works. So my real question is can they get the defense back on track? Which I believe they will, but it's, again, to me, that's more of a question mark, because Eberflus is who really kind of put this defense together over the last couple of years, and it was a true defense. That was really like one of the biggest selling points when bringing Caleb in. It was like, this defense is going to be great. They're going to be averaging, 17, 18, 19, 20 points a game. And then, like, there you go. Now you just need Caleb to find a way to score 20 plus points, and they're in business. And the number 1 overall pick, and Caleb Williams, and all these weapons, et cetera, et cetera. But I mean, they fixed the O-line. They have true veterans, so you know the O-line. It's not like you have to even now guess, right? It's not like, oh, you have some draft picks. Will this guy be good? Will he not be? Like, you got the true veterans, which is what I defended, because Colin was saying you shouldn't pay for those guys. And I was like, no, that doesn't make any sense. You kind of have to hit the ground running. You got Ben Johnson. He's smart. He knows what he's doing. You got another weapon. I mean, now you got multiple weapons. You got the O-line. You should have the quarterback. You have the offensive head coach / coordinator and play caller. Those are all different things, by the way. Like, you have it. You have it. The Detroit Lions lost both their coordinators. The Minnesota Vikings are seeing, is JJ McCarthy, can he hit the ground running as essentially a rookie coming off of an injury? He hasn't played football in a year, probably the first time in his life since he's ever started playing football. So, that's an interesting thing. The Packers, will they find, and I think the Packers will be a good team too. Like, I still think this division is going to be hard, but if memory serves me correctly, it's the Lions that have that brutal schedule. If it's the Lions that have that absolute brutal schedule where they are just they're facing like every great team out there. I think it's like the Bills, the Ravens, the Eagles. I think it's just like a crazy like one of the toughest schedules I've seen in, forever. I think the Bears are 100% in the driver's seat. Unless Caleb is really like still having moments like he had last year, then that obviously completely changes. But if Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams are the true hits that we believe them to be, as long as the defense can kind of get back on track, like I think it's very real. Because again, you're also banking on that the Detroit Lions take a step back. And again, I'm not acting like the Detroit Lions are going to take this massive step back. Like, I keep using this like number analogy where if they were at 100, I'm not saying that they lose their coordinators and now they drop to 70, but just like the Chicago Bears were in a position to beat the Lions last season. And that was with just a mess of a team. Everything was a mess. Coaching, quarterback, offense, like defense at that point too. Like, everything was just a mess. Now there's such clarity, such stability here. In a lot of ways, it feels like this is the team and the coaching staff that people believed Caleb was being drafted into last year. And remember, those expectations were Caleb Williams, top quarterback, MVP candidate, Super Bowl contender. And, I'm not trying to go too extreme too quickly, and I can definitely change my opinion the more I think about it. And I do want to look at the schedule, specifically the order of the schedule, because I do think that matters. There's a handful of teams that I think like the order of the schedule matters significantly. And I think when you are bringing in a new coach, Ben Johnson, Caleb and all of that, like that does matter. I think it's a lot harder if you're facing the Detroit Lions week 2 or something, because it's just like, you kind of, the Bears do need to get settled, which is why when, he's like, you need to be good in September right off the bat. And I'm kind of like, Caleb had a disaster of a situation last year. Like, you got to give him a few games to feel it out. Heck, you did that with Sean Payton and Russell Wilson. I remember people were criticizing that, and then I think they got off to a rocky start. Then they kind of got some momentum, and I remember specifically, Colin was like, this stuff takes time. This stuff takes time. Of course Sean Payton was going to get it right. So it was like, those were established coaches and established quarterback. And that ended up obviously not, going to plan, but like, I have no desire to put like a strong timeline on these things. Colin's very adamant about it being like, if you're not great by Thanksgiving, your second year, you're done. You're not the guy. And it's like, okay, it depends on the situation. It depends on the timeline. Right. If Ben Johnson was your coach from the jump, I could understand that. But if anything, there was regression last year. There's things that Caleb potentially learned that he now has to unlearn. I'm sure there's probably plenty of times that Caleb is talking to his new coaching staff right now, and he's like, oh, what I was doing was this. And they're like, no. You don't have to do that. No, not that. No. I'm sure there's so many times. I've been with so many coaches where they're like, wait, what? They're like, no. You can do that, but like, let's just try it my way. I used to always get that with coaches. Just try it my way, especially if I was firm in a way. Just try it my way for a little bit and see what happens. Just try it my way. There's probably a better way to phrase it, but that's how a lot of coaches say. Just try it my way, and then we'll see. We'll see which feels more. I know it feels uncomfortable now, but it'll get more comfortable. Like, those are all some of these things that Caleb has to like go through, which is not typical when you have continuity in your first year going into your second year when you have like the same coach, the same play caller, the same coordinator, like same quarterback coach. Like there's a lot more continuity, and Caleb doesn't have that. So that's why I'm kept saying like give some grace. But you know, if he is him, then this Chicago Bears team is them. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Chicago Bears setting Caleb up for success? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.